again, I would be very cautious with this because two people who have the same symptoms that we call Parkinson's may have very different ways where they got there. And those different ways have to be found out and they have to be addressed. Otherwise, you're basically treating the symptoms and not treating the real root cause of the person's trouble. But one of the points I wanted to make here is you can take some diseases, some situations, and say, what is it that you're seeing in common between people who we refer to as having Parkinson's? And again, I think I've been through this before, but let me go through it again. And because I'm going to bring up an interesting point, at least interesting to me. So what you see with people with Parkinson's is they typically are tired. They have sort of low energy, you could say. They have this shuffling gait where they don't move their legs very far apart in each step. So each step is very short because presumably because they're worried about falling. They do this movement called pill rolling with their hands. So they also have tremors. Sometimes they're intentional tremors, sometimes they're tremors at rest, but they have shakes and tremors, and they do pill rolling, and their arms are usually stiff. And they, when you try to bend them like this, they have a sort of ratcheting effect, like, so that normal smooth motion of your arm is no longer healthy. And so you get this ratcheting effect. And then you have this very peculiar and almost pathognomonic, which means hallmark of the diagnosis, which is this unblinking, staring face. And anybody who's seen that, you can sort of detect a Parkinson's person just by seeing that, and often then by confirming that with their gait and seeing the tremor. So if you wanted to put this, just the diagnosis, into a story, you would say, this is a story about a blank, emotionless face with eyes wide open and usually unblinking, and limbs that are not acting under the proper control, say, of the consciousness or even unconsciousness of the person. So whatever it is that makes us walk in a smooth way, somehow that's disturbed. And then when you use your intention to make a movement, that is also disturbed. So we're talking about a problem in the head, in the face, and in the limbs. Now, when you go into the way that I'm trying to get people to understand medicine, and again, interestingly, this came up many times in the interview with Dolph and Mario yesterday. The system that we're working with is you have this organized, coherent water, which has things dissolved in it, and that downloads or accepts or is the receiver and the processor of information that comes to us from outside of us, from the world. And that is primarily through sound, tones, and through light. And there's various kinds of information. There's various qualities of information. That's why sunlight is probably the healthiest source of information. And the resonance of the earth is also a huge source of healthy informations, whereas artificial light and electromagnetic waves and tones that are not natural and not coming from the earth and not coming from the trees and the plants and the cats and the dogs and the people, all those are essentially the wrong information.